Hi there. Welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's yoga class is all about creating your own joys, your own triumphs. Even within the most mundane, you can create little ecstasies on your own. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify if you need to, and feel comfortable to rest as often as you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to start off for today's class coming into a wide stance, allowing the feet to softly splay out, aiming towards the two corners of your mat. And I want you to think of your body as the 5 points of a star as you raise your arms up, making a little star shape with your body. And I want you to wiggle around and enjoy the sensation, create the ecstasy of just stretching out through those points of tightness, especially in the hip and the waist area if you do a lot of sitting during the day. Enjoy that little wiggle. And then bend the knees. Think plie, so knee over ankle, and drop your hands to the top of your thighs. Sink down through the pelvis and then curl your tailbone in so that you're feeling a soft little contraction in the core. Begin to just lean into the thighs and start giving me an almost mini lunge, side to side, starting to push gently off the top of your thighs. Then come to a goddess stance on the legs. Take a big breath in and drop your right elbow down towards the floor, almost hanging on it and pausing here, looking over the left shoulder to the wall behind you. Keep your belly button softly pulled in to center. Ease your way back to the midline and take that little side lunge, side to side, just opening up gently through the groin area. Come to stillness along the midline. Drop the left shoulder towards the floor. Peek over the right shoulder and pause here in your little goddess hang. Then take a big breath in as you float back to center. Start straightening up the legs. Float both hands behind you, interlacing them. Make a little fist behind your back. Draw the two palms as close together along the midline of the body as you can. Float the two shoulder blades together. Drop your fist down between your bum and just enjoy a little stretch here. Come out as much through the waist as you can. From here, you're going to bleed your way into a traditional goddess. Think plie, bend your knees. Make sure the knees are not collapsing in, so knees over ankles, and open up your arms into a little cactus frame. Think of having a little walnut between your two shoulder blades and trying to crack that walnut between the two shoulder blades. So open up through your chest center. Then float the left arm in, overlay the right arm on top of the left and bring your hands into a little eagle bind. Try to look through your bound hands to the wall at the opposite end of the room. And then start lifting and lowering your fingertips to the ceiling, almost as if you were trying to tap the ceiling. Come to stillness and heel toe your feet in, finding your way into a mini tree. Bend your left leg, place the toe on the floor and the foot wrapped around your ankle, or slide up midway just underneath your knee. Hold that line. Look for stillness, look for control in your eagle tree hybrid. And keeping your tree stance on the legs, open up the arms into a T-frame. Try to lengthen, tap the wall on either side of the room. Keep your left leg where it is and take a big step towards the top end of the mat. You can either keep your back foot at 90 or you can angle the foot in slightly and then start sliding your front foot forward. We're going to come into a little triangle line from here. Take a big breath in. Pretend somebody's pulling your lead arm forward. Pop out the back hip and hinge forward to find placement on the inside of your leg, maybe pushing with the back of your hand. Pause here. Take a big inhale in and reverse your triangle, dropping your back hand to your back thigh and reaching up to the ceiling for the ecstasy of the stretch. Then drop back down into your triangle. Try to drop a little bit lower to the floor this time. Try to forge almost a T-frame between the two arms as if you were running a broomstick from the one palm to the other. On an inhale, reverse your triangle, dropping your back hand to your back leg, reaching out towards the sky, trying to lengthen through that top arm. Bring yourself back down into triangle, trying to drop as low as you can. Maybe even fingertips on the mat. Or you could place a block alongside you to support your frame. Keep the integrity of your triangle, both legs extended, lead arm grounded, and focus on your top arm that's facing towards the sky. Float that arm nearer to your ear and try to tap the wall in front of your mat. Try to forge a long line through your hip, the ribs, and the arm. Then bleed back to your T-frame and try to lengthen a little bit more. Bring that top arm closer to your ear and try to tap the wall in front of your mat. Inhale, bring it back to the ceiling. We're going to find our way from here into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana, coming into a little balance. Bend the lead leg, launch off the back leg, place the right fingertips in front of the right foot, launch off the back leg, and see if you can come into a little balancing frame, softly rotating on the top hip so that you can stack it over the bottom hip. Then bend the lead leg, take a big, wide step back and open up into as wide a little star as you can. Reach for the sky. Legs are a little bit wider than they were the first time. And just find that little star reach, wiggling out, shining like a beautiful, bright star. Bend your legs. Think of that goddess line. So make sure that you've got knee over ankle and find your goddess line. Uttaka Konasana. Take a big breath in and drop your right elbow down to your right thigh. Tuck the left arm behind your back. So if you can drop down as low as you can through the pelvis. If you can, reach the fingertips around you and see if you can find a little grip position with the left hand on the inseam of the right leg. Then start straightening out your back leg. Think warrior two line. We're coming into a side angle. You're going to hold your side angle here, either pushing off your lead elbow and just opening up as much as you can through your chest center, feeling that delicious stretch into your shoulders and your chest. Or you could drop your right arm down and place it on the inseam of the right leg, keeping that bind behind your back with the left fingertips softly holding onto the inseam of your right leg. Hold your modified bound side angle. Then straighten up the legs, square them up, reach from the inseam of your legs as you fold forward into Prasarita Padottanasana. Feet are squared, all 10 toes grounded, weight wrapping around the whole foot. Inner thighs are switched on, so you're pulling on an imaginary zip from the inside of your ankles all the way towards your pubis, and the belly button is softly pulled in to center. Then drop your fingertips to the mat. Bleed your heels in. Find that little wide V frame through the legs and ragdoll style, peel back up into your little star stretch. Reach as wide as you can for the sky. Wriggle out through your hips. Reach as tall as you can. Think of your crown, your two hands, and the feet as being the 5 points of a star. And just reach as tall as you can. Look for the joy of stretching. Then drop the hands down to the thighs. Think plie line. So feed the ankles and the heels in. Start gently side lunging dynamically, side to side. Just trying to gently open up those areas of tightness in the hips and the groin as you gently rest and hang on the thighs. Pause along the midline. Take a big breath in and drop the left shoulder down. Peeking over the right shoulder and holding that little hang. Inhale and come back to center, and then gently play with that little side lunge, side to side. Trying to keep your pelvis dropped nice and low so that you're feeling that opening into the groin. Come to stillness. Drop the right elbow down. Enjoy that stretch. Peek over the left shoulder. Ease your way back to center. Start straightening up the legs. Float the hands behind you. Find your fisted position by floating the two palms together. Drop your fist down between your bum cheeks and arc slightly through the spine so that you can feel a beautiful opening through all of your chakras. From your root chakra, through the reproductive chakra, through your belly chakra, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and your crown chakra. Uninterlace the hands and ease your way into a little cactus frame through the arms as you find Goddess Uttaka Konasana. Take a few gentle breaths here. Think of that walnut between the two shoulder blades and you're trying to crack it. So you're really opening up through your chest center. Then float the right arm in. We're going to set up an eagle line. Overlay the left arm into the right. Peek around. Well, I'm peeking around, but you should be peeking through your arms to the wall in front of you. Then give me a little lift and lower, as if you were reaching with your fingertips to try to tap the ceiling. Then hold steady and heel toe your feet in. Coming into a narrow stance, you're going to set up a tree line on the left. Bend the left knee. Place the sole of the foot on the inseam of the right leg. Maybe big toe softly connected to the mat. Or maybe just give me a halfway stance with the whole foot below your knee line. Pause. Look for control in your tree eagle hybrid. And then keeping the integrity of the tree frame through the legs, open up the arms into a soft T frame and reach through your fingertips as if you were trying to tap the wall on either side of the room. Then take a big step with your left leg towards the back end of the mat. You can readjust your stance if you need to, angling in the back foot slightly at 45. Front toes are pointing to the front of the mat. Reach forward. Set up your triangle, Trikonasana, by dropping your hand down, maybe just pushing with the back of the hand against the inseam of your leg, maybe for the first one. Trying to forge that almost T-frame between the arms. Then reverse your triangle, leading back up, dropping your back hand to the back leg and reaching for the sky with the top arm. Then ease your way back into your triangle. This time try to drop a little bit closer to the floor as you find your frame. Think of that T-frame between both arms. Try to keep both legs extended. Peel back up. Find your reverse triangle. Reach for the sky. Really try to come up through the hips and the waist. Then drop down into your triangle frame one more time and hold. Drop as low as you can. Maybe fingertips or palms connected to the floor this time. Try to almost rotate on that top shoulder and gently peek up to the ceiling. Then hold your triangle frame as you play with the top arm. Take a big breath in and bring that arm closer towards your ear, trying to tap the wall behind your mat. Inhale and come back to triangle. Shoot for length up that top arm, reach for the sky. Exhale to extend your triangle, bringing that top arm as close to your ear as you can and trying to stretch through the hip, the ribs and the meridian of the arm. One more time. Reach for the sky. You're going to set up your half moon from here. Maybe creep your left hand a little bit off the mat, placing it in front of your lead leg. You can soften both legs. Launch the weight off your back leg. Use your toe if you need to. You're going to gently try to rotate on the top hip, almost stacking the right hip on top of the left as you come into a little half moon balance. So just let's keep that back toe soft today. You're going to step back into your star frame from here. So soften the lead leg. Find your way back to the mat. Open up both legs. Reach through your fingertips as wide as you can. Wriggle out through your waist. Look for the joy, the ecstasy of stretching out of those tight little nicks and crannies in the body. Let's set up a goddess line again. So think plie. Settle down. Groin should be a lot warmer, so try to drop down through the pelvis. Drop the left elbow to the left thigh and tuck the right arm behind your back. Reaching behind you to see if you can reach with your fingertips for the inseam of the left leg. Either staying here, just dropping down as much as you can. Try to open up through that top shoulder. And then start straightening up your right leg. Find an almost warrior two-like stance on the legs. Stay here or drop down, placing that left palm to the floor if you can and pushing with the whole left arm on the inseam of that left leg, trying to open up through the top shoulder and maybe gently peek up to the ceiling. Give yourself a couple of gentle breaths here. Then unbind, place your hands on the floor, open up the legs as wide as you can, squaring up through the feet. Just drop down, crown heavy to the floor, maybe wrapping around from the inside to grab your ankles or maybe the calves or the top of your thighs if you're higher up off the floor. Make sure the feet are grounded. Make sure your inner thighs are switched on. And make sure that you're gently pulling up the belly button, so no muffin top tummies hanging over the edge of your pants. Then gently unbind. Place your hands on the mat. We're going to set up a warrior one line towards the top end of the mat. So look towards the top end of the mat. Rotate your lead leg in. Start rotating through your body. And then step up the back leg slightly so that the back foot is angled in slightly at 45. You're going to bleed the body up. Floating the hands overhead as you come to Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Try to sink down through the pelvis. If that back foot is not happy angled in, you can give me a modified lunge line and bring the heel off the floor and float both hips to look at the front of your mat. So pick your warrior, hold it. Give yourself a couple of seconds here looking for strength, looking for control on the mat. From here, you're going to find your way into a plank line on the mat. Drop both hands either side of the lead leg, tuck the back toes under, and step back into a plank line. Take a couple of moments to run through a check when you're in your plank. Hands stacking underneath the shoulders, pushing the mat strongly away. Your bum is not piked up to the ceiling, nor are your hips collapsed to the floor. So I want you to give me a strong brace of your core. The tops and the back of your legs are engaged, and you're almost pulling the weight back into your heels, trying to work, even out the body weight distribution so that the core is actually carrying the majority of your body weight. Then from your plank line, you're going to find a modified up dog. With control, drop your hips through the plank line, start arcing slightly through the spine, but still strong through the belly and the shoulders. As you drop your shoulders away from your ears and look gently up towards the sky. Enjoy the ecstasy of that beautiful stretch into your lower belly. Then pike into a down dog from here and almost use it as active recovery. So maybe creeping your feet in slightly. Find an almost triangular frame between the arms and the legs. Try to drop down as much weight as you can through the heels of your feet. And take a moment here in Adho Mukha Svanasana, allowing the crown to hang heavy towards the floor so that you're feeling that delicious stretch into the shoulders. Then let's set up a three-legged dog on the right. Start softening the right knee. And then pick up the right leg behind you, maybe with a soft pointy toe today. And try to reach as long as you can through that back toe. Try to keep relatively stacked through the hips at this stage as you find your three-legged dog, Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Then let's arch the dog and use it to find our way into Wild Thing. Bend that floating back leg. Open up the back knee to the side of the room. Look over the left shoulder as if you were looking for that hanging foot, like a little scorpion tail behind you. Keep your belly button softly pulled into center and enjoy that stretch. Or use this frame to find yourself into a three-legged table. Take that hanging back foot and drop it to the floor behind you. So you start to pivot on the back leg, pike your hips up to the ceiling, pushing off the 2 feet in the one hand, maybe looking up towards that top palm. Use that palm as your drishti, your focal point. Try not to drop the bum, so try to pike your hips up towards the ceiling as you find Wild Thing Kamaktrasana. Bleed your way back into your three-legged dog and then drop both knees to the floor. Keep your toes tucked under or relax the feet as you come into a high kneeling frame. Interlace the hands behind you, make a little fist. We're coming into a modified camel. Drop that fist down between your bum cheeks and arc slightly through the spine, trying to keep your hips softly stacked over your knees as you come into a little fisted camel, Ustrasana. Then keeping your knees stacking underneath your hips, or you can bring them closer together along the midline of the body. You're going to sit back into Thunderbolt Vajrasana by dropping your bum to your heels. Keeping that fisted line, arcing slightly through the spine. Then uninterlace your hands, drop your fingertips to the mat behind you, and just allow your chest to fly up towards the ceiling. Take a few gentle breaths here. And then take a soft rotational twist to the left, reaching for the sky with your right arm as you look over the back shoulder towards the back edge of your mat. Lead your way back to center, preferably placing both hands on the floor or little spider fingertips. Open up your chest center as much as you can to the sky. Take a few delicious breaths here. Look for the simple joys. And then repeat that little twist to the right, opening up your left hand to the sky, looking over that back shoulder towards the back edge of the mat. Lead your way back to center and start opening up the knees to the side of the room, setting up a tadpole line. Start to wiggle your weight side to side and allow the feet to start wrapping around your bum. Open up the knees as wide as you can while dropping your bum down towards the floor. Try to sit yourself down onto the mat if you can, or you could place a block underneath your bottom. Wrap your feet so it feels like they are hugging your bum. And then maybe take your fingertips, reach for your ankles, pull your ankles or your shins, pull your shins up towards the sky while dropping weight down through your pelvis. And look for that little opposition in the stretch. So you've got energy coming down into the mat through your pelvis and your bum bones. And at the same time, you're pulling up shin bones to the sky, crown to the sky. Then let go of the shins. Bring your fingertips to the mat. Maybe finding your way into a modified child. Feet are still wrapped around the bum. Maybe drop down onto the elbows. You can think Sphinx. Maybe just pushing off your elbow points and hanging here. Or allowing the elbows to track wide. Stacking one palm on top of the other. Resting your forehead on the back of your hands and holding your modified child. So the knees are pretty wide. The feet, or the soles of the feet, are still softly almost cupping around your bottom. And you're just hanging here, chilling in your modified child balasana. Take a couple of moments here to breathe as deeply as you can on the inhale. Think of trying to expand your ribs. So think of not only breathing laterally and expanding your ribs to the side of the room, but breathe as deeply as you can into the back of your ribs. So it feels like the whole back of your rib cage is expanding up towards the ceiling on each inhale. Look for a quiet moment or two. Then bleed your way from here into an almost soft 4-point kneel. Wriggle your legs in if you need to. Give your ankles a little release. We're going to set up that warrior one line on the left. Think of coming into a high kneeling frame and stepping your left leg forward to the front of the mat. Think knee over ankle. You're going to tuck the back toes under, either coming into a high lunge or dropping the back foot, anchoring through the heel, but angling the back foot slightly in at 45 as you float your arms up to reach for the sky, setting up Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Take a few moments here to enjoy the subtle nuances of the pose. Try to have the weight bearing equal, so don't lean everything forward into the lead leg. Have the weight coming down evenly through the pelvis. Both hip bones are looking to the front of the mat, so that angling in of the back foot is quite important. Hold. You're going to bleed your way from here into a plank line. Start dropping your hands either side of the lead leg. Rotate on the back foot, slide it out. And then step the back foot the front foot backwards and set up your plank line. Take a few moments here to run your checks. Make sure that you're not collapsing, so push off your hands, strong through the chest, strong through your belly, strong through your legs, both the front and the back of the legs. Hold your plank, Palakasana or Kumbhakasana. And then start morphing from here into your up dog. With control, come through the plank line and find Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Curving slightly through the spine, push off your hands, drop the shoulders away from your ears, and enjoy that delicious stretch into the lower belly and the backs and the tops of your legs. Then morph into a down dog. Start piking your bum up to the ceiling, maybe shifting your feet in slightly so that you can get more height on your down dog, and then send energy down through the heels of your feet and just give yourself a couple of moments in down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Enjoy that glorious stretch into the front and the back chain of your body, so arms and legs beautifully stretching, bum piked up as high as you can, belly pulled into center, crown heavy to the floor, almost reaching your nose through your hands as if you wanted to tap your nose to your knees. Stay here or find your three-legged dog. Bend the left knee, kick up the left leg behind you, and just let's play with a soft toe line today. At first, just keep your hips nice and squared and enjoy looking for length up that left leg. Then arch the dog. Start bending the left leg, open up the knee to the side of the room, drop the foot to the right, and then look over the right shoulder for that hanging scorpion tail of a foot. Give me the flattest belly you can, push off your hands, and enjoy the stretch. Stay here in your arching dog or find your three-legged table. Focus on that floating leg. Start pivoting through the hip and drop your floating foot to the floor. Pivot on the back foot. Pike your hips up to the ceiling. Find your three-legged table, maybe looking up towards that top palm. Keep your hips spiked up nice and high to the sky. Look for strength, look for control. Bleed your way back to your three-legged dog. And then set up a camel line. So bend the knees, either keeping your feet relaxed or tucking the toes under, whichever works for you. Bleed up into a high kneeling frame. Bring the hands behind you. Make a little fist. So I think of drawing the two palms together. Throw the two elbows and the two shoulders as close together as you can. Start dropping that fist down between your bum cheeks. Try to keep your hips softly stacked over your knees so that you're feeling that stretch into the lower belly and the top of your thighs as you find your fisted camel line. Baddha Ustrasana. And keeping that fisted line, you can keep your legs in that soft parallel line, or you can float the knees and the feet closer together as you sit back onto your heels and find Vajrasana, thunderbolts. Curving slightly through the spine, keeping that interlace. Then when you're starting to feel the shoulders maybe beginning to tingle and the arms beginning to tingle, open up and see if you can drop your fingertips to the mat behind you. Just lean back slightly. Keep pushing off little spider fingertips and float your chest and your belly up towards the sky. Give yourself a couple of moments here. And then keeping your right hand connected to the floor, take a soft, almost twist to the right to peek over the right shoulder as you float your left arm up to the sky, reaching with all 5 fingertips on the left hand as if you were trying to capture the sun. Bring both hands back to the mat, open up your chest and your belly center, your throat center, your third eye to the sky. And then gently take that soft rotational twist in the opposite direction. Reaching through the right fingertips, try to touch the sky. Look over that back shoulder towards the back edge of the mat, or maybe look up towards the ceiling. Bring yourself back to center. Focus on your legs. Peel your way back into the Vajrasana, maybe placing the hands on the top of your thighs. Then start to creep the knees further apart and start to wiggle your body weight so that it feels like your bum is dropping down between your feet. Keep your hands on the floor if you need to, or just rest them on the top of your thighs as you wiggle into your little tadpole. Knees are nice and wide. Bum is dropping down to the mat. Feet are wrapping around your bum. Try to reach for your shin bones and then start activating the stretch. Drop down through your pelvis and your bum bones, and at the same time pull your shin bones up towards the sky. Relish that little oppositional stretch. And just give yourself a couple of moments here. Keep your breathing long, soft, and even. Then think of using this tadpole frame and marrying it with child pose balasana. Let go of your shin bones, maybe dropping your fingertips to the mat in front of you, and then start to creep your weight forward. Maybe dropping down onto the forearms. Think Sphinx. So your elbow points are stacking underneath your armpits. Maybe just pushing off the top of your hands. You can either play palms down or palms up. If you want to stretch a little bit further, marry your tadpole with child pose. Flare your elbows wide, stacking one palm on top of the other, relaxing your forehead to the back of your hands. And just taking a couple of deep breaths here. Start focusing on your rib cage. Try to expand the rib cage as wide as you can on each inhale. Maybe even adding a fourth dimension and not only growing your ribs out to the side of the room and up towards the ceiling, but also trying to expand the front of your ribs on each inhale so it feels like your chest is almost trying to tap the floor. Opening up the rib cage so wide that you can really get air into the very bottom of your lungs and try to use more of your lung capacity. Enjoy the simple ecstasy of just breathing as deeply as you can. Give yourself a few joyous moments of silence. Just enjoying being in the moment, in the stillness, in the quiet. Maybe taking a few quiet moments for contemplation. And when you're ready, you're going to find your way into a seated frame of your choice as we end off with a little bit of breath work. Maybe bleeding back up into your modified Sphinx. And then finding your ways onto the palms. Starting to float your legs in closer. Either coming into Thunderbolt with your knees and your feet together, sitting back on your heels. Or perhaps you'd like to come into Easy Sit or a half or a full lotus line. I'm going to angle my body slightly. As we end off with a little bit of breath work, we're going to end off with Anulom Vilom, alternate nostril breathing. You're going to relax the hands on the top of your thighs and just give yourself a couple of moments looking for length through the spine. You're going to keep your left hand relaxed and you're going to use your right hand as a prop. You're either going to take the middle and index finger and place them on the third eye, that little spot between the two eyebrows, or you can tuck the two fingers in and keep them tucked in. You're going to use your thumb, the pad of your thumb, to open and close the right nostril, and you're going to use your ring finger to control the opening and the closing of your left nostril. For this exercise, we're going to be breathing through the nose exclusively. No mouth unless your sinuses are congested. Begin the exercise by closing your right nostril with your ring finger. Sorry, your left nostril with your ring finger. Take a big inhale into the right, then close it, open and exhale left. Then inhale left, close it, open and exhale right. Start finding a gentle rhythm of your own, inhaling through the one nostril, closing it, and then exhaling through the other. Try to play at a 1-to-2 inhalation to exhalation ratio. So if you're inhaling for 3, you're going to double up and exhale for 6. You can build that up to 4-to-8 or 5-to-10 or 6-to-12. If you feel happy here with the basics of the exercise, you can add in a third component, retention. Inhale through one nostril, let's say for 3 counts. Close that nostril and retain or hold your breath by nodding your chin to your chest and applying the chin lock, the Jalandhara Bandha. Then release your chin lock, open and exhale, let's say for 6, out the other nostril. If the 3-to-6 feels good, try 4-to-8, and then build from there. But at no stage should you be straining on either the retention, the kumbhaka, or the exhalation portion of the exercise. Rechaka. Just find a steady rhythm of your own, taking your focus inward as you play with that breath pattern. Every time you inhale right, connect to your Pingala or sun energy, build up that heat within the body. Every time you inhale through the left nostril, think of connecting to your Ida, your moon energy. Bathe yourself in its calming, restorative waters. Maybe closing the eyes, taking your practice totally inward and enjoying the ecstasy of just connecting to your breath on a deeper level, allowing it to work its magic within your body. On each inhale, feel the joy of taking in that oxygen supply to feed every cell within your body. On each exhalation, think of the joy of allowing your body the opportunity to get rid of all those toxins that you're building up with each breath cycle. When you've completed your last round of Anulom Vilom, alternate nostril breathing, just drop both hands to the top of your thighs and give yourself a couple of gentle recovery breaths, breathing evenly through both nostrils. And closing the eyes and taking your focus inward, maybe bring your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart and think of that intention, that sankalpa that we set at the beginning of the class, to create your own ecstasies. Even within the most mundane day, look for and try to create little joys, little triumphs to keep you motivated and bolstered. With that thought, namaste to you. Thank you so much for coming out and playing with me today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's class. Remember to shoot your comments in the comments box below. Make sure that your notifications for this channel are turned on, and have a joyous day until we meet on the mat today. Keep it light.